Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 112 of a Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Okay, we have some fun things to talk about. I have a newly finished object. I'm not surprised I have it done, I guess, but it was a lot of finishing. I have another finished object, which is gift knit, and I have 3 new cast-ons, and I thought it was going to be 4, but I didn't get to the 4th one, and that's okay. I will get to it this week. So let's talk about what those things are. For anyone who's new here, hi, welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name is Megan, and I live in the Pacific Northwest. I live with my husband, Mike, our daughter, Theo, our dog, Winter, and my mom, Cindy, and I talk mostly about knitting and books. I try not to make the book section too long, but I do read a lot. And I have a really fun knitting project related to books this year, so that's good. I also spin yarn, though there's not a spinning update this week. And I just talk about all the other kind of like yarny goodness out there. I hope that while you're watching, you are knitting or crocheting or crafting on something fun. You can do any craft. Oh, actually, there are 4 cast-ons, but the last thing is not a knitting project, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway because it is fiber related. Okay, so let's talk. Let's get started with what I'm wearing as always, which this week is a newly finished object. So we'll go through what it looks like on. I'll stand up in a second and then we'll do measurements, mods, and talk about rating the pattern and the yarn. So let me just stand up first and let's just go through that so you can see what it is. But this is my Alchemist Pullover by Abbye and Selena from Wool and Pine Designs. This is a test knit. This is going to come out mid-October, late October. And I have to just get final details and pictures to them and fill out my Ravelry page, which I have not done yet. But I'm going to take pictures today and then I will do that. I did take measurements. I did take yardage, so we can talk about that. Okay, here's a pretty good place to see the whole thing. Oh, it's so cute. Okay. I did put this on for the first time today. Actually, I tried it on before blocking and I took a picture. I'm going to show it here so you can see what it looks like pre-blocking and then blocked. You can tell, especially like right in the shoulders, that pre-blocking, it fit pretty nicely actually, but the shoulders were up just a little bit more. It was a little bit, I gave the body, did relax and have a little more room, which makes my gauge very on point. So this is what I needed anyway. This was a little bit tight, which is, I mean, not tight, but like more form-fitting than I knew that the final product was going to be. It also is a little bit shorter. So where the waist was in my pre-blocking is like here, which was actually not a bad point to hit me, but post-blocking is here. And this is actually more of where I wanted it to be. I wanted it to hit with jeans on because this is how I figured I'd wear it a lot. At or right around the, like my natural waist, like where my jeans would hit on my side, so that this opening is not going to was not going to be like way up here and have like some weird stuff going on, right? I love it. I don't remember where I was last week, but I think I had to finish sleeves still, so they are done. I think I had one almost done and one like partially done, so they're obviously done, but I finished those first and then I got back to the body and I really only had added a little bit over an inch. I am a little bit over in pattern, which I'll put this all on the Ravelry page too, so you can go back to it. And then I did the ribbing slightly less than the pattern, not a ton less. And I had a little bit of yarn. I could have done more, but I wanted to be at like right here. This is exactly where I wanted it to hit. I wanted to hit like right at the fullest part of my hips, not much further than that, because that to me is not like my preference for wearing. So here we are. You can see this shoulder detail. Wow, there's a lot of hair happening here. It really does go my entire shoulder, you know, like this is the whole part of the top of the sleeve. So it sits really nicely where the like inset sleeve part starts. And if I had picked up slightly less stitches, I could have pulled this in more. I actually think that this V-neck is sitting like perfectly. This is like exactly where I want it to be. It's just far enough that it feels very V-neck, but there's no cleavage, which is great for work and stuff. And also this like very classic tweed reads like professorial to me, so not too much cleavage. It's probably more my look. But it is a 2x2 neckline. I don't know how close we got to the neckline last week, but it looks really nice. This is the same neckline done the same way as the 3 Seasons pullover, and I think it's such a crisp, clean way to have that V-neck decreases go. It just looks so nice. The hem is all 2x2 ribbing with a selvage edge, so you get like 1 extra stitch or whatever. There's no overlap, which I do prefer an overlap, but with this high, I thought that this actually looks pretty nice like that. And I did block this out to be a little bit wider than the body, just so that when it actually hangs and relaxes, it would just not look smaller. Do you know what I mean? So here it is. I love it. I think it's so flattering. I think it's really cute. The arm circumference and the arm length and everything feels really comfortable for me. It is a little bit more like knuckle length on the arms, which actually is my preference for something like this. Like, this is so fall, like I don't want it. I don't prefer bracelet length, generally speaking, but you know, that's always up to you. So here we are. Pretty cute, huh? Okay, I'm gonna sit down now. I'm gonna talk about stuff. So let's go through sizing really quick. This is supposed to be a size 5, 48-inch bust. Recommended ease is 4 to 8 positive inches. I used a 4.5 millimeter needle for the body, a 4 millimeter needle for the ribbing, and which is what's recommended in the pattern. I used back loop yarn and fiber, who's no longer dying, in her tweed DK, which is 85% superwash merino, 15% Donegal neps. These are natural colored neps, or whatever, natural colored. They're the white, brown, and black ones. And this is a color slate. She's no longer dying, but which is sad. But this color is so great, and I'm really glad that I changed plans for it instead of doing the Ginny cardigan, which just isn't right for me. I made this beautiful thing, which I'm gonna live in. I'm gonna wear it all the time. Okay, final measurements that I did end up with is 47.5 inches at the bust. I could have probably given myself a little bit more room, but I did not really. I just laid flat, made sure stitches looked nice. That's it. The length from hem to underarm, all the way, sorry, underarm to hem. I wrote this a weird way. I want to write my note. Underarm to hem is 13 inches. All the way to the bottom, but I do have a measurement from the underarm to the split, which is 8.25 inches, which is longer than the pattern recommends, but that's just the length of my torso to a good place, you know, as we talked about on my side. The total length of the garment is 22.5 inches, which is slightly longer than, like, 22 is usually the max of what I knit, but this actually sits really nicely on my hips, or like, you know, where it ends. The arm circumference at you know, at the top of the bicep is 14 inches, which I think my arm is wider than that, but this doesn't feel like a lot of negative ease. So like maybe that measurement is like, maybe it's a little bit bigger than that, but my arm length is 17.5 inches. When I first laid this out, these arms were very long, and I just, you know, did that thing where I wiggle the yarn or wiggle the sleeve a little bit and make sure that it lays flat to dry, just without any stress on the arm length. And this is the perfect length. I wouldn't want them any longer. I think pattern says 18 inches, but this is, you know, this was perfect for me. The cuff, not stretched out, laid flat, is 6.5 inches. And the V-neck depth from when I just laid this flat from the top of the back of the neckline to the front of the V was 7.5 inches. So there's that. Those are all the measures. Let's go through a quick rating of the yarn. Unfortunately, you can't get this, but many dyers have this same exact tweed DK. I think tweed is magical. I have not actually made myself anything with tweed. I think that might be true, at least not a sweater, and I love this. I think it's so fun. It just like it's like just a little something extra, and it does just give me that like fall, like academia vibes. I don't know what it is. It's tweed. It's a professor thing. It feels like tweed, but knitting with it was not bothersome or anything. So, you know, it's not like they get stuck or anything. You don't really notice them. And I will say, knitting it, it's like because you're looking at such a small piece of it, like row after row, you don't notice it. And like the whole vibe overall is like, it is very tweedy and so fun. So I really love it. The pattern itself, I I'm gonna rate this for me as a 5, which in my rating is I really love this and I probably want more of them. I think this is maybe like, I just think it's like a really great V-neck. I would do more of these. I think this is really great. I actually think that I would maybe even mod it just a tiny bit so that this is a little less deep, so that the sleeve really does start just like here, like that. And I think that would be actually a pretty easy mod. And you could still just do a little bit more flat knitting before the V, or do the first V increases at a lower rate. And I think that would be like pretty easy to change. But anyway, I think it fits great. I would have more that are just like this. This one feels kind of like a, yeah, just like a great rinse and repeat sort of pattern. There's like totally different. You could make this look very different if you did a fade, if you did stripes, if you did, I don't know, just like a totally different yarn. Also, like having this in a superwash yarn is great, but like I feel like this would be really nice in like a U-less, like a little bit of a crunchy yarn. Anyway, I love it. I think it's great. Highly recommend. I think a lot of their patterns just fit really nicely and they're flattering. I wasn't sure if I would really like the split hem, and like, let's see how I like it in practice, but I think I really love it. And actually, that's actually something that I would potentially change, is keep the length that I have in the body and then do a shorter rib and not do a split hem. And I think you get a very different looking finished garment, but like has all the pieces that I would still love. So potentially, let's not hold our breath or anything on that, me making another one right now, considering the queue of things to be made, but I love it. Okay, go on to my next finished object, which, you guys, I feel really bad. I wrote it down wrong. I don't know. This is not I think I was calling it the Curiosity Cowl. This is the Creativity Cowl. It's a new stitch pattern. You know, she has a Curiosity other thing. So this is the Creativity Cowl by Tori Yu, who is Tori Knits NYC. This is completed now, sewn together, blocked. It's very shiny in the light here. This is the youth size. This is for Theo. I don't actually know. I didn't try it on. I don't know if it would fit over my head because I have a pretty big head. Okay, it does. It's just a little stretch. So here it is. It's really cute on. It has a 2-color I-cord bind off here. So you got that like really fun color finish. It is a bandana cowl that does that sort of like on a bias. That's how, I mean, it's knit on a bias. So, you know, it's, when you hold it, it's kind of like looks strange, but it does taper to like, you know, almost an even V if you're wearing it. It's got a lot of nice room up here. I think the adult sizes is not a whole lot bigger. You know, the small is maybe like 1.5 inches bigger than this one around the upper neck, to get it over your head. And the adult large is like maybe 3 inches bigger, which is, you know, significantly bigger. Just give it more drape. I actually don't hate this. Like if I made this again, I would probably do the adult small size. Like I don't want a ton more room. I like how I would prefer my cows to sit a little closer. Like if I'm gonna wear it, I want it to be warm. It is drapey on Theo. Obviously she is 3. But she did put it on last night. I let her wear it around and she was wearing it for like 15 minutes inside and she really loved it. It sits rather long on her because again, she's a baby, but this will fit her until she's like, you know, 12 or 15 or something like that. Like probably until she's like at least a teenager. I don't know if she'll love these colors until she's a teenager, but this is definitely something that she's loving right now. She keeps telling me she wants to wear it in the snow, which I'm hoping is quite many, you know, a lot of months from now. But once it gets cooler, we'll send her in this, you know, to school and stuff so that she stays warm while she has outside playtime. That is a new development, which I haven't really talked about. I did mention before, but she did start preschool. She goes twice a week. It's a co-op preschool. So my mom goes one of the days as a caretaker. There's lots of adults around and it's just free play. There's no like structured curriculum, though they do have like set snack time and like a gather time, but she is loving it. Just extra kid time. She's like learning the kids' names in her class. They're all sort of parallel playing, not really playing together, but they're 2 and 3, so it's cute. Okay, anyway, so these are our bluey bingo colors here, or I don't know, blippy all the blue and orange things happening right now. And so this is what she wanted. And this is what we have. This is my handspun, the orange, and like some of this, you know, you see there's blue in here too. And the shiny bits, this is handspun from a bat. And Malabrigo, I didn't say the color last time. This is the worsted, which is a single ply, non-superwash wool yarn. It's very soft though. In the colorway Continental Blue. I had just one skein that I had gotten like in a free box of D-Stash stuff. So now nearly all of it used. I think I have like 8 grams left, so that's pretty good. Oh, sorry, I never said the yardage for this one. This one is, I used 1246 yards, 1,246 yards. I can't remember if that's close to the pattern. I'll look to see if that's like on or off. They're really good about adjusting so that, you know, people really do have enough yarn in their patterns. This I was a little bit over on yardage for this. I used 189 yards of the blue and 97 yards of the handspun. And that's mostly because I added an extra repeat, because inches wise, I needed like 1 extra repeat to be 21 or whatever inches. I don't know how many it is, whatever it was supposed to be across, 20, 21-ish or something like that. But, which just increases this by 1. It doesn't change like the depth or anything. I think that maybe I just do those I-cord stitches pretty tight, and that piece is what, you know, is where I needed that a little bit extra space. Whatever, it's fine. It's just a cowl. Cows are really like, you can be pretty ballparky on them, right? I will take pictures of this draped, hanging up, laying down somewhere, I don't know, today, to get them onto my Ravelry page when I take pictures of this, plus my socks. I'm still taking pictures of socks. I am gonna update pictures on Ravelry then, and I already have my notes to Tori on this. So I feel good about having that done a little early, not a lot early, like a week early. Okay, creativity cow, done. Ratings for that, those yarns, I mean, that's a handspun, so who knows, but using handspun, excellent. A+, will recommend. Use your handspun. It's really fun to use. Even if it's a color that you don't love, get that in a gift somewhere. It's so fun. And that pattern was really easy. I mean, cows are great. I think you can have them on repeat. I would really like to do that cowl with the handspun as the background color, like a lot more of the handspun. I have plenty of them to use. That one, it didn't have quite enough yarn to make the orange, the handspun. Plus it was a little more inconsistent because that was like my first spin from a bat, which was a chaos bat. But I have more like DK weight. Even like this one, I don't think that this is enough yardage. It might be to do the adult small size. This is a little bit thinner of a DK, but to make this the background color, and then I don't even know what yarn I have, but I kind of want to make another one. All I'm saying is I would make this for more people, because like as gifts, even because it just like was so fun. But doing that, having the background color also would be nice with something that has a lot of color changes in it. Or even like this one that Ariel spun for me, it's just purple, which was my first, it was like our first time spinning Rambouillet, and I was still learning and not ready for it, but it was out. We had it at, wow, we had it at our knit weekend 2 years ago when Ariel first got her wheel. Precious. We go on a knit weekend soon, so we're excited about that. Okay, let's move on to projects. I have a lot of projects on the needle, so some of these are just gonna be quick updates, and then one or two of them I have more details I want to share. So let's do this. I also have a kind of a hard stop today, so we gotta get moving here. Okay, this is my Crosshatch Hacked. This is, I am not using a pattern, but I'm highly influenced by the Jared Flood Crosshatch pattern. I am not doing the shawl size though. I'm doing like really just a scarf size. I think I did 55 stitches. I have two I-cord stitches on each side. And this is my attempt number 3 or whatever, but now we are into the long ways. So it's looking great. I have a lot of inches, though I'm not quite halfway there. I am just started my 3rd skein of black. I think I have 5 skeins of black. I would like to use all of the yarn I have, or close to, or once I get to 85 inches or so, I will stop. Whatever comes first. And that's all for that. So I just keep trucking on it, though. I'm still in desperate need of some more 4mm needles, because I just keep shuffling them between projects. And so this one doesn't have a needle right now. So I didn't work on it last night because I didn't even want to find any, or move them around. And that is Ulyss and Heavy Merino from Knitting for Olive. The second thing to go over is my Scorned Sweater. This is another project that is in testing. This one is for Perfectly Knotted, who is Claire Jackson. Claire is the best. She is pumping out patterns like crazy now, though. I think when she decided to go part-time at work, she just had all these knitting things. And projects she had done samples for and was in the middle with, and she's doing some collabs, which are really exciting. So anyway, I did make progress this week. I did not put fun markers on my sleeves, but here's my little sheepy. So I added 2, I think a little over 2 stripes. I added the collar in the darker color, which is what I wanted the collar to be. I'm going to let the sleeves and the hem be just whatever the next stripe is. So not worried about that. It could be different. I mean, obviously the sleeves will be the same, but it could be different than the hem. I don't know. And then I don't have fun stitch markers here, but here's the top of the sleeve. So I finished out that purple that was half the sleeve, or I split the sleeves at half of a stripe, right? So finished out that one, did 3 more on each side. So they're even right now. And I have been kind of flopping needles back and forth. Everybody at Knit Night was like, you are crazy. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. Again, I need more 4mm needles. I don't have any needles on this project either right now. I also don't have any yarn attached because I've cut for my stripes. So we're at a good place. The body, I'm definitely not even going to go back to, because I have fully 7 inches or something like that of the body done. So I'm going to probably completely finish sleeves, then go back to the body and figure out really what I need to add, how much length I need to add. Maybe it's just 1 more stripe and then the stripe in hem. I'm not really sure. So we'll see. Let's just do the reminder for size. That's a size 5, 46 inches. Recommended ease is 2 to 6 inches. That's 0 for me, but my upper bust is a little bit of inches. I decided not to add any extra stitches. I honestly, I'll tell you the truth here. I have not tried this on yet. I have no idea how it fits. I haven't got a clue. Until I'm nearly done sleeves, I'm not going to try it on, because I just can't be bothered right now. That's terrible, but I have faith that it's going to fit well. So it is what it is at this point. I'm using 4mm needles for that, for everything except for the collar. I did with 3.5mm needles. This is Woolen DK, Woolen Corriedale DK from Little Fiber, and one of a kind Woolen Merino DK, which is no longer available. I love both of these colors. I love how it's turning out. I'm actually really excited to wear this one. It's not what I would, I don't know. It feels a little different for my style, but I love these big chunky stripes, and I don't have anything like it right now in my wardrobe. So that's very exciting. Also, I keep, every time I put on purple, I'm like, oh, I need more purple knits. So this is checking 2 boxes for me for sure. Okay, let's go on to the Happypotamus. Because that's where I have some real fun progress to show you. This is a pattern by Heidi Bears, and she's a genius, everybody. I'm just going to give her that credit again. However she figured this out I don't even know. It's quite magical. And I was wrong last week. I don't know what I said. I was said something, there's not that many black ends. There's a lot of black ends, but you are knitting over them, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so we have a hippo butt. Up to the hippo legs, and then I need to finish basically the top of the back shoulders, and then the neck, the eyes, the nose, and the front of him. So and there's quite a lot of squares still that go into the head, including the ears and everything. So this is 1/2 of the flowers that there are. So there's 44 total in this, and this is 23 of them. So half of them fully go into the head and the neck. So that's a lot. And the head is quite big. When you see it next week, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is the inside. Yarn barf ends. I don't cut any of them. I'm going to stuff with them there. You don't stuff any of this until you have the last 2 flowers or something like that. Or maybe even the last flower, because it's quite open until you get that last one in, and it feels like a lot of strain on the yarn, but once it's in there, then everything is kind of equally, fluffed. So this, he will get a tail, or she'll get a tail. I don't know. This hippo is ungendered. I will put a tail on though soon, before I finish, because I've figured out a way I like to sew them in. And I'll just maybe do all the colors, pick some of the colors, make it black. I'm not really sure yet. I'll sort of decide. But this looks very reminiscent of the one that was up for the little picture, because I am using the same yarns. That is one that I made for my niece when she turned 1. Will be for Theo's 3rd birthday. She has not really seen it yet. I left some of the flowers out the other day and she's like, ooh, this is pretty. And I was like, you can't see these, go away. But yeah, so this is halfway done. Here, let's talk about how it's constructed. We start with our butt. Actually, you start with legs. You start with legs and then you go to your butt and then you sort of go around. So the really cool thing that she does, and so if you've ever done this before, you're interested but nervous, you know, I'll sort of talk you through a little bit of the stuff without giving too much away. So basically, what happens is she'll give you instructions. I mean, this is flower by flower. You do not have to figure anything out. She even tells you exactly where to start. So it's a little bit your choice for some of the things, but she will give you instructions for which one to start with. And like, you'll start with a fully black round to like your 5th round. Then she'll give you the 2nd one and she'll tell you which ones join. So like, for example, these, since you start with the legs, I mean, I'll just tell you this, you have 3 sides joined on each leg. And on your sides, she tells you where to start your pickup. And then she tells you where you would, like on any of the apex peaks, that you would start. It's like at the apex of the peak is where you start. But she would tell you like where to start. And then she tells you in which direction. Okay. So she marks these with like 2 like colored lines on each of the flowers, so you can see where they would match up. I mean, the very beginning ones, that's pretty clear what you're doing. So let's say, I don't actually know if this is the order, but let's say you do these 2, then you do the 8. So you're connecting the 8 octagon one across, because I have both of these legs, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. She tells you that you start with this pink one and then go to the inside one, because that's the direction that you're crocheting, right? But when you do that, you could start and crochet 2 of the other sides first, so you don't have too much to crochet along the edge. Otherwise, you could start right away. It doesn't really matter. But you do, like, it gets confusing when you get to some of these places where I think I had a bit of a trial last night. I had to redo one like twice because I just wasn't paying attention. That was up at my 7, because you join 4 sides. You join 4 sides of one of your heptagons and 5 of the other, and I just wasn't paying attention, so I had to redo that like twice. But I have now all my octagons and my heptagons and half of the hexagons, and then we've got the 2 nose patches. Those are the only other shapes than pentagons. There's a lot of pentagons in this, and so it's just like looking. It's so cute. It's really fun. I've not been doing a super fussy-ness with the colors. I just don't want, because there's the invert of each other. So for example, I have this orange with a blue outside and this blue with an orange. I just didn't want them to be right next to each other. So, you know, and some of them, those shapes are right next to each other or whatever. So I was just trying to like map these out, and I laid them out on my couch to give a diversity in color, so there's also not, you know, too much of this peachy on one side of the hippo versus the other or something like that. So I didn't, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but it's just a stuffy, so it's fine. She's looking great so far. So I will continue with this and I'll finish it out this week. Then you stuff it. We'll talk about the eyes next week, but I will use safety eyes for this, and I will put them in at the point after you crochet together. There's like a point where it's like, okay, now put your eyes in, put your ears on and stuff. And the ears are the only ones I think that you fully just do and sew on. I can't even remember. I've done this so many times and I have no idea. But so here we are. I'm really excited to get it done. It's so cute. The hippo butt is really cute. You can see it's kind of ridged looking because you do this with slip stitches in, so you don't like remove. It is actually different of a join as you go than I did for Theo's crochet sweater that I recently finished. This one though, you just slip stitch it in, and it does have like a lot of these peaks and valleys. You can see the peaks of those edges, but when you stuff it pretty well, you're gonna stretch those out, so it's not quite as noticeable. I mean, it's a little rich, but that's okay. It's just texture. So yeah, here we are. Cute little hippo. This is my one octagon, or my one flower that has a yellow center. There's quite a lot of purple on the inside of the feet, but also that's fine. So I'm loving it. Excited to have this done next week for Theo. I'm using a 2mm crochet hook, and as a reminder, this is the black I'm joining with is a Hobby Lobby yarn that I got gifted to me, and the colors are all Schockmeyer Baby Bravo, which is acrylic. It's all acrylic. Okay, let's go to one that got some good work this week, but not as, I mean, it's where I want it to like minimally get to. So that's what I did. I also don't have all of the progress keepers that I could have on here, but I have one over here. So basically I finished out like, I think 1 stripe, like maybe 4 rows or maybe 6 rows I added to the back to get it to where I wanted, 4 slightly deeper measurements than written in pattern. So I think I have just over 7 inches, and for my size, for the size 4 that I'm doing, it was 6 1/4 or something like that. So like I made this a little bit bigger because that is quite a small armhole. I know this because I did this as a sample in the same size. Then I picked up, and this is the pickup edge here, and you can kind of tell, you can really tell in person, but you can kind of tell that this is all the sock yarn here, and that's where you do the short rows. So short rows done across both sides, and then I joined and have like 2 rows joined for the front. So I'll knit the back, now the front, to match the length for the back that I need. And it's actually not terribly a lot, since that's about the same amount of rows for the short rows here on the side. I think that's where you measure on the side. I have like 11 stripes to finish, which I guess is kind of a lot. But I mean, hopefully I will be able to do that now that I don't really have to think anymore. It's just straight knitting. Knitting and purling the sides to get the stripes done. I would really like this to be joined in the body by next week. That would be great. To get in the round will feel amazing, and I know it'll go a lot faster than, I'm just not a super fast purler with 1 strand of mohair. So those rows always just seem like a lot slower. That might just be mental also. And I am making a size 4 for that, which is a 56-inch bust. It is quite a drop on this one. I am going to make slightly deeper armholes on that. That'll be the mod. Recommended ease is 16 inches. So this is a little less than recommended ease, but still quite a lot. I am using 3.5mm needles for the body, which is what's recommended. And then that is all Lamb Good Fiber yarn. And it is the classic fingering and the mohair in, I've got to have a flock of this, and it's the flock color from 2023. So that's all the details you need to know about that. Let's go on to something I had cast on last week, but not a lot done, and I have more done this week for sure. And this is my Oversized Seasons cardigan from Ozetta. I did not put a marker in, did I? I did not, but I will put one in this week, a progress keeper. I had just done like 4 or 5 increase rows, so I was like here. So I added 15, or I got to 15. I added 10 of them. I don't know, something like that. I have a lot done. I mean, of the raglan, like this is just getting bigger. But now you can truly see the sleeve here. So here's the sleeve. Here's the front. And then the button band is happening at the same time, but on separate needles. So you can see that I'm going to have it like this forever. 2 needles happening here. I'm really loving how this stitch pattern is looking now that I have more of it done. It looks really great in this half fisherman's rib, which I love in a cardigan because the return row is just knit. Isn't that great? There's so much VM in this. Particular knitted in. I feel like I don't remember my pink having quite so much grass and other things in it, but this one does, which is fine. Just pick it out when I want to. I did do this week too. You'll be proud. I moved this to a basket also, so I can just have this sort of basket on the go. So this is where I'm connected to, but I made all these other balls. I still have more white. I have a whole plate and a little over a half, maybe almost 2 plates left. So I actually probably 2 full plates left. So just 1 full plate, 2 smaller ones. So I have plenty to go through if I need more, which I think I'm gonna need more. I feel like this is eating yarn pretty fast, which is fine. I should be fine yarn wise. Let's see. I am doing, oh, I have not decided size yet. Remember, I'm doing somewhere between a 4 and a 5. I think I may end up doing the size 4, which is a 48-inch bust. The recommended ease on this is 7 inches. So I should be doing a size 5. But my concern here is the armhole depth, because the row gauge on this, like, it's just really hard to get knitted in to be smaller. It's just got a bigger row gauge. And so if I do, you start at the same place for 4 and 5. So if I do size 5, like extra rows to give me more body, I think the armholes are going to be kind of ridiculously long. So we'll just kind of see. And if it's a little closer fitting, I'm not going to be mad about it. I think it'll still feel like cute. Like I don't necessarily need this to be particularly large, I guess is my question, my thought on it. Just sizing on me, my preference is to not have it be too baggy. So that's where we are right now. We're sort of just deciding, figuring things out for that. The next thing I cast on over the weekend is the Henri, the orangutan. So here he is. He's got like such a pinhead. He does in the book too. Like he's literally my least favorite of all of the characters. The one I probably would skip in my menagerie that I make for Theo, slash me, just to have around the house. Eventually I might not make him again. He just find him to be so ugly, but whatever. He's actually on a 2.5 millimeter needle, 2.25. Yeah, 2.25 millimeter needles. You start on a 2 for the very beginning, and then you move out because you hold this with mohair. So you can see he's a little bit fuzzy. He'll get brushed so he looks even fuzzier, at least on his head, after he gets washed. And I did finish the face details. He has tiny little beady eyes and a nose. I got to the point right at the neck. You're supposed to finish all the details before you do like your last decrease, and then you go and start increases. So I'm done the top body increases. I got to the point where his arms need to be added, and it's like 50 rows of just like 6 stitches, and I was like, I cannot right now. This was over the weekend. So he's been down since the weekend. I will do it again maybe this weekend. I'll just go power through, get his arms, because he's got fingers. Like it's all the way to the tiniest like 2-stitch thing. So I just need to power through the arms. I think that'll probably be the hardest part of it. Then we go into a pretty basic body shape, and his legs, which have, are just making tiny socks. So that's not a big deal. So I hope that he will be done in about 2 weeks. I would like him to be done before like mid-October so that I can get this to my friend who is pregnant. This is for a friend who is having a baby. And also so I can get socks on the needles. I mean, this is not on my 2 millimeter needles, so I could really do socks at the same time, but I don't want I don't need 2 teeny tiny projects at the same time. I may have to start my socks when this is finishing, but I think I can power through. I get the arms done. I think I'd do a lot of the body also this weekend without it being like too crazy or too much time. So that is again by Cynthia Ballet, who from the book Moosh and Friends. This is Henri the orangutan. I am using Cascade Fingering 220, which is a non-superwash yarn, and also Knitting for Olive. I think it's burnt orange, maybe the color. Anyway, mohair. And so this is the color of the 2 yarns together. Like this one is a little bit brighter than this one, but I think they, like meld together really well into like the perfect orangutan color. I already had that Cascade yarn, so that's why I'm using it. I did have to purchase that mohair though when I got the color for the duck, because I knew I was going to be making this one already. Okay, let's go on to the next cast on, which is really small, but I'm loving it already. I only knit on this one night. I cast it on sort of like towards the end of the night, did a little bit, felt good about the progress and the look of it, and then put it down. This was maybe Tuesday I cast on. And so I will get back to this. This will be a little bit slower of a knit for me just because of the cables. But I think what my plan is going to be is that I do work on it every week, but maybe just like one night for right now. And I would like to get the back done in the next 2 weeks. Like, so just a little bit slower of a roll for this one so that I don't burn myself out on the cables. But this is a Sorry Northland pattern called the Mila cardigan. She has like 3 or 4 Mila patterns at this point. I know at least that there's a tank top and a pullover and a cardigan. So I don't know if there's more, but the pattern, as you can see, is this really fun sort of like inset cable. Like it looks like 2 cables lumped together, and then there's sort of a diamond shape too in between 2 of them. You can see here this like little one, the little pearl diamond. But this is really cool because this is a reversible cardigan. So the other side actually has these gorgeous, just like large diamond cables. What? No idea how that, like, she figured out that that works out, but I'm really excited. So I will do the button band with snap buttons or no buttons. I mean, I'll probably do snap buttons, but snap buttons. And so I can wear it both ways. What I'm really interested in for this is how you do the neckline pickup, how you do the sleeve pickup. I guess the underarms, like you're only gonna have this much that you would be able to see on either side or both sides, but I don't know if she has any tips for that. I haven't read ahead in the pattern. So here we are, hoping to get the back done over the next 2 weeks. So I will go back. I'm gonna have to get this on bigger needles pretty soon. So I also just need to figure out what's happening with all my cables. But that is the Mila cardigan. This is Explore Knits and Fibers Earthy DK, which is the non-superwash version of their DK yarn in the color Squim. This is slightly grayer than Squim on other bases. I think it reads a little bit more purple on other bases, but it is like a very gray purple. Inside my light also, like with that light there, it looks a little grayer. Here, that's pretty much what it looks like in person, like this purpley gray. It's from the Seattle collection. So yarn I got when at their first pop-up that I went to. So not the first year they had the Seattle collection, it was the second at La Mercerie. So here we are. I have a couple more skeins I'm going to get skeined up this weekend too as I get projects started and working on and stuff, but that is the start of that. And then let's go through my last cast on, which is, just go over real fast, is the Flax, sort of. I am doing the, I think 4 to 6 size because Theo's wearing a 5 right now in pants and some shirts. She's just pretty tall. And since I'm going to adjust so much of this anyway, I'm not really worried about it. So you can see how that pink yarn is working up. This is on my make 9 for her. I wanted to use this yarn. This yarn was gifted to me, or like, you know, from our yarn swap from Katie. It is a Madelinetosh one of a kind, in their DK. I think it's a non-superwash DK. It just says merino on the label, but it's got these like pretty orange and black flecks in it. Anyway, I'm doing a Flax DK version. I am using the Tin Can Knits app to do this, which is fine, but I may swap it out because or change how I'm doing this, because you can't like mark, I don't know, maybe I have to play with the app a little bit more. I don't know that you can mark like your progress on it. So I was like going back and I was like, where the heck was I? Anyway, raglan is pretty easy instructions, but they do a knit front and back for the raglan line, and I wanted a more traditional raglan line, so I am doing make rights and lefts, and I just swapped the instructions there a little bit, and so that's what it looks like. It'll be a little bit different. I'm not doing the garter panel also, so I'm using like basically just the numbers from the Flax pattern. Once we get to her natural waist-ish or a little bit lower, I am going to do a peplum on this also if I have enough yarn. I opted also to do the non-collared start, which you can choose in the pattern, and then it gives you instructions how to, like, it gives you the right up in the right order then. I will pick up and do a collar, partly because I haven't decided if I want to do a little bit of a lace collar. I was thinking about this weekend. On the peplum, I could also end it in lace. It sort of depends on how I feel, and I feel like that would be really cute. But if I do that, then I also want lace for the collar. So I want to start, like, I don't know. I would do that, but I would still do regular cuffs. Maybe lace everywhere. Now that I did that for me for the Alpine Bloom, I'm like, it's so cute. But I would choose a lace pattern that I might just pick it from a pattern that has it written in that you do directionally this way, you know, directionally down. So I'm not going to like figure out a lace that I have to graft. That would be crazy. So we'll play around with it and see what I think. in the future. That's a future me problem. Not worried about it right now. I've got a lot of sweater to knit before I get that done. I would really like to give her this for her birthday. So I'd like to have it done by the end of October. I think that's reasonable because it's still a kid's sweater, even if it's 4 to 6, not a baby sweater anymore. So not quite as fast, but still pretty easy. And then I would like to give her the hippo, which will definitely be done. Then I would also like to give her the next thing I've started working on. I have enough to make myself one of these also. I actually might make one for Theo's little bestie because it's been really fun so far. I have not cut the canvases for this, but if anyone has seen this, Feral Notions is, I think that's her name also on Instagram, is that has like a blog and other things, and I think she does a lot of needlepoint. She also has like a Notions store, but she became obsessed with the idea of these like house purses that look like houses, and so is doing like an embroider along for this. It's a house make along. But there's a free pattern. I signed up to get the updates and then weekly like reminders of like what you're supposed to be doing. So I started sort of in wrong order. I actually was not paying attention, and I started with the back pattern first. I think the first week was supposed to be the front, but it doesn't really matter. I did not cut my canvas yet first because I wanted to just like make sure I was reading how, like, where the cuts should be correctly. Now I could go through and cut them, but she also recommends that you just cut like one at a time. It's a house. I mean, I'll put the picture up here, but it's so stinking cute. I can't even. So I started with the back panel. This will have a cat in the window. This will all be pink here. There'll be another window that's just blue, and then it'll have like a trellis of flowers, and there's some flowers that'll be on the bottom. Then you do, basically, I don't know if you can tell from the picture, but there's a strap on it, and then the top of the roof lifts up for a purse, and it's going to be lined with fabric. My mom has tons of fabric, and she's got some fun like floral patterns, like kind of old school like 70s and 80s floral patterns that I will use, have her help me cut, measure, whatever, because I'm just not a sewist. But have her help me get that together, and then I will sew them in because it's just hand sewn in. I'm really excited to get this to her. I hope the stitch along or whatever is until the end of October. I'm hoping I get this done by her birthday. She did see this laying on like, I have a little thing next to my desk that this was just sitting on this week, and she came into my office and she's like, ooh, this is pretty. So I hope she likes it. She doesn't know what it's going to be yet. So another kind of surprise for her. So that is going to happen. I'll give you updates on it. It's so fun. So by next week, I'm hoping I'll have the back done and one of the roofs. I'll probably prioritize just getting a roof done so I can feel like I accomplished something quickly. And then I will move on to the front and a roof. And those two are on one sheet of canvas. And then you just have the strap in the bottom and the sides. Oh, the sides of the house is actually 2. I might try to get those done in between the front and the back. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll follow along with her weekly things. Maybe not. But basically I want to get like one large piece done, maybe 2 pieces done next week. And then I'll feel good about the time spent. It's been really fun. Yeah, it takes time and I'm doing it, but like, it's kind of like a nice break from knitting, and it's not as fiddly as my cross stitch. Plus the cross stitch that I'm doing for my stockings is just so much detail work. There's not big swaths of color, and this is sort of mindless. I can like truly like watch a show or read and like still do this stitching without this whole pink section. I just have to get like 5, oh, that's the back, 5 more stitches across, and then I'll just know I go all the way down and all the way across. Like, it's really easy to just be like, that's this whole area, which is great. I'm using all acrylic, or I think most of it's acrylic, like it's just scrap acrylic or mix yarns I have like all just scraps. The only thing that will be probably wool is some of the details. There's like some black details that you do around the door and stuff, and I'm going to use fingering held double for that because it needs to be a little bit thinner. Maybe even fingering held single. I don't know. I have to look at the pattern, but I'm really excited for it. It's very easy. It's easy to follow. The instructions are fun. So I'm a big fan. If that seems like something that you want to do, the knit along or the make along just started last Friday. So join, figure out how to get the pattern. I don't know. It's on her website or something. I'll make sure the link to at least the blog post or whatever talking about it is on here. I'm so excited. Okay. That's all for regular projects. Now we'll go to the book snake and talk about books. So I read 5 books this week. Great way to know what I'm talking about this week. As always, my little Hello Lavender bookmarker is showing us where I ended last week. So this one I finished with my eyeballs. I think there's one more. I think Mateo has the book. And then I think that's the last one. I'm giving myself a little bit of a break because I'm going to an Elsie Silver book for this. So that's fine. I'll get back to the Edens. But this is the Edens number 5 called Crimson River. This one is like a wild start. I mean, honestly, like I said, this family of small town Montana gets themselves in danger often. So this was a danger book. Started out really crazy. This is basically like, I won't... one of the kids gets injured and or hurt by someone, I guess, let's say that. And then and I say kids being the children of this family who this books are about. They're all grown-ups. And then somebody comes to town looking for the potential suspect from a cold case, a murder cold case, and like then starts looking in the woods. And it's a little bit about her fear, conquering her fear now of just everything, because that's a really scary thing. And also getting to the bottom of the case. It wasn't exactly, I mean, I could tell early on that it was maybe not what we had suspected, but it was not exactly what I thought was going to happen. So it was interesting for sure. I think these books are always like pretty entertaining. And so this is by Devney Perry. So I would suggest this whole series is a read, I would suggest you read. Okay. Then the next book I have here is I picked like kind of just mostly like that greeny color, but also like fun because there's a lot of colors in this cover. This book is called Pickleballers by Ilana Long. Katie bought this book when we were at that romance book pop-up in Seattle. And I was like, oh, like in the back of my mind, oh, maybe I'll read it too. She's a local author. And you can really tell she's a local author because a lot of the book feels a little bit like a love note to the Pacific Northwest, which that part I liked. I will say I did not really enjoy this book a lot. I mean, I read it. I got it from audiobook from the library. I don't think, honestly, I would have read it if I had to read with my eyeballs. It was very heavy on the pickleball content, which like, obviously that's what it's about, but like a little bit too much, for someone who doesn't play pickleball, especially. I'm not interested in racket sports. I'm not going to play it. I mean, eventually when Theo's like a little bit older, like I would play for fun with her, but this did not make me want to play in any kind of like league or like team capacity. It felt like this was a little bit of it felt like not welcoming, and that's like kind of a Seattle thing. But like the story I've gotten from my friends who did play like a sort of like an underdog sports league thing, they did like evening pickleballs, and then they had like tournaments against other teams, and they had like their team was, they played in pairs and they could change it up. Most people, but some people I guess had joined as singles, like without people. She joined with her husband. Anyway, they had a really welcoming and fun group. This didn't feel like that for me. I don't know. There were just parts about it that I didn't like enjoy. I felt like there was too much pickleball content. Like it was just so focused on that I felt like some of the other stuff felt like rushed or didn't make as much sense. I felt like the girl was just like really bad at communicating, and that is just not my favorite trope. Like there were several miscommunication things, which I felt like were pretty silly. And I also just like felt there was a part where she does a mural in like a week along this whole fence, and I felt like that was not believable. I don't know. There were just things about this that I was like, I don't love. Anyway, I don't recommend it. Unless you love pickleball, then I say go for it, give it a try. It was just not my favorite. And that's all. A little bit the writing style, a little bit the content, a lot the romance. So yeah, though I did like the male lead, I did not like the girl. Okay, I did. You guys, I stuck with Carley Fortune. I told you I was going to try to read the next book, especially because the third one went better than the other two. This one is going back to Charlie. So this is the brother from the first book, which I won't spoil anything, but he was on a little bit on my not good list. I actually really liked the book about him. This was my favorite by far, I think, of the books. Yeah, of her books. Partly because there was no going back in the past. Thank goodness. Like, write something different, Carley. This was great. This was just a story of two people. Charlie's taking a sabbatical from work, spending the summer at the lake as a grown-up, and our girl is taking her nan up to the lake to rehabilitate after she breaks her hip. So like, it was kind of just like a sweet story. I thought the colors in this were like the deep of the lake and like the sunset. That's the color, the bluey orange color that I used in this one. But enjoyed that. He's not my most favorite male lead or anything, but like I felt like he did an okay job as a main male lead in this. And as in he has any authority. Carley wrote him in a way that I did not dislike. Okay, then we've got I finished the trilogy for the Broken Bloodlines books by Sadie Kincaid. These are not my just off the bat. This was not my favorite romantasy series I've read even recently, and definitely not of like an all-time or anything. I felt like between the smut, she didn't do a great job of world building or explaining things, and it was like a lot of parts are rushed, and yeah, just not great plot. Pretty decent smut, but I will say some of it felt like towards the end, it's like she wanted to put plot in the third book so that she would rush through these things that I was like, well, I mean, if this is what you've established now I feel confused. Okay, so as a reminder, this is a story about a girl who finds out she has powers, and her name is Ophelia, and like finding her place in the world. And also there's a little bit of a chosen one trope going on here, and she falls in love with or gets mated to 4 vampire dudes, one sire who's like a blood vampire, and his 3 maid vampires who are like his bonded family. This one is called Promised in Blood, and then and I got like, I felt like this was like pretty dark cover. Honestly, there wasn't that much purple in this one, but you get like a little bit of purpley vibes in the red. And then the third book was called Bound in Blood, and that one I did a black plus this like gray pink purple that I have, which I thought was like pretty good. There's a lot of pinky purple around the outside of that one. Anyway, that's the 2 covers. I don't know if I'd recommend this series. Like, if you really want to just read some smut, light on plot, not great on details, go for it. If you want a good romantasy read, I would not recommend. So, yeah, there's what I feel about it. I don't really need to tell you more things about it. That's enough of that. Okay, let's go on to a couple of things that are coming up in the docket. So I did talk about last week, I need to cast on, and I did skein up like 3 or 4 of them because they're 50-gram skeins, my wool folk yarn for the test knit for the Ray pullover sweater. I don't know exactly what the name is. I gotta put that in my notes, but I am gonna start that. This is not a secret test knit, and I'm very excited to get this one on the needles. It's gonna be so great. It's gonna be so soft. Before I cast that on, which I'm gonna do this weekend, there are a couple of like key parts I want to get to for some other projects to get those just like out of my brain, out of my queue. And that is mostly that before this weekend, which really means that editing and a little bit of knitting tomorrow, I would like to finish my Scorned sleeves, which is going to be kind of a big ask, but I think I'm going to do that during editing, and I'll get quite a lot done. And I want to be done with my crosshatch ad for this week. I might add a little bit more, but I want to get at least like 4 or 5 inches done. And those 2 things, if those are done, then I'll cast on the Ray sweater and feel okay about that. That's the only thing that's coming up right now to cast on. I did get into another test knit, you guys. I don't know what I'm thinking, but this one's done now. That one's done now. So the only test knit on my needles is my Scorned sweater, and then this Ray sweater. Okay, those two things will be the test knits that are on the needles. Scorned, I'm feeling good, especially because the body is so far along. So if I get the sleeves done, I'm feeling in a really good place for that. So the test I got in that I will cast on once, we don't even have the pattern yet. I don't think we'll get it for like a week or so. And I don't know if the turnaround time is faster because it's a bulky knit, but anyway, it's another sweater for Claire. And this one I've just been eyeing forever is the Fluff Ball Raglan. I do have all of these yarns. I have some patterns picked out for my petite wool yarns because I would like to get one or two of the sweater quantities I have used up this year if possible. They're bulky, they'll go quickly. This is potentially the one that I'm going to use, and I've got a couple of color combos I could use, but I have not a lot of this. This is Lodge. It's 100% Surrey from Sorella in the color Lodge. It is 437 yards for 100 grams, so it's a slightly thicker. It's like a fingering weight, sorry. This is bulky already. This is just a bulky knit, but I think because petite, like the petite wool is a little bit thinner of a bulky. Like bulky is kind of all manners, and like I would call this more of an Aran weight yarn. I think that holding these together will get me gauge. I will try it. If that doesn't work and I need to go slightly thinner, then I have, I think, just enough yardage, because this does not require a lot of yardage, in the Surrey to do this. This is not my preference for color palette, but I would do and be okay with it. So one of those two is what I'll do. So I'm pretty excited for that. And I think that will go really fast and that'll feel like a fun little knit. Not like I need more projects, but you know what? I am just embracing the chaos right now and trying to figure out what works for me. This is the same thing that happened last year when I had like 8 projects on the needles, is it's a little bit hard for me to prioritize, just like with what I want to knit. So what I'm trying to do right now is a couple of the projects that, like the book snake, that it's not really registering as a project, because I just have to do so little on that every week. But like the crosshatch, I just have a goal of like, 20 rows or whatever. Like it's not a ton, but I know I'll keep progressing if I do that. Things like my Mila, I know I've got a longer timeline for that. So I just want to get to that goal, and then I can focus on the thing that's bringing me the most joy. And if that thing was bringing me the most joy, then I would, deprioritize a couple of the other things. So just gonna change around what is feeling best to me each week. The very last thing I want to talk about is something that I have not cast on yet, but I am going to cake up skeins of my main color. And that is my blanket. I want to do my Stella quilt blanket. And so here's what I've done is I've gone through and I've made kind of color bags. I actually found another bag of minis from my Farmer's Daughter Fibers yarns and leftovers that I want to just maybe go through and change some of these colors out. But I have I think there's 8 of each of these colors in here. And I know because I'm going to do all of the 2 color, I'll put a motif up here. This motif is what I'm going to do for the whole blanket. Because I need, it uses slightly less of the main color. I'm still going to need a couple more skeins of this undyed yarn, but that's okay. So here we are with a couple of them. I've made 10 packs. I think I need 12 in total. So again, with these colors, I'll shuffle, and there's a couple that I want to reuse from some of those, so I'll shuffle them around for the last ones. But I would like to get these started and do at least, I don't want this to be a whole year, so like 2 to 3 weeks for a square. And maybe I'll start one this weekend, but maybe I'll just pause and start one in October being the start of that. So who knows? We'll see. Okay. I'm not going to finish this year. All right. This is a long-term project. I'm hoping to finish by the spring. So, okay. I think that's really all I have to talk about this week. Remember, if you want to do an unspun project with us, we do have a make-along channel in the Discord. If you have a Hohi knit-along project you're working on and you want to just chat in a smaller group, we are posting over there too, which has been really fun. I did post a short video this week on YouTube here about my auto winder. It's just a little tour of the auto winder. I am going to start my spin with me video this weekend. I don't know that I'll finish spinning anything, but I'm hoping to finish the single by next episode. I will also do the ply, so both of those things will be in the video, so it's a little bit longer and it'll be a lot of editing. So I hope to get that out in 2 to 3 weeks. Finally, the Compass DK will come out on Saturday. So you'll see a post from me on Instagram, and the details are still already done on Ravelry. But I'm hoping to get a little bit of knitting admin done this weekend, and some more posts out just generally. Like, I have more finished objects I want to get out, and so I'm not going to do one a day because that's like just not going to happen for me. But I want to try to get a few more of them out over the next week so I just can catch up with my backlog of things. And so, not that I need to just create Instagram, but it is such a nice thing for me to scroll through too and see the things in a way of like, oh yeah, I love these pictures or whatever. So things going on here. That's just stuff I'm thinking about. So what is on your hook or needle or loom or wheel or whatever? What have you been working on? I'd love to know. Please share below. If you have questions about any of the things on my hooks and needles, let me know. I hope that was enough explanation for those of you who had asked about the construction of the hippo. I mean, the best thing I can tell you is she has excellent instructions. So I think you can do it without too much fear. If you get stuck on something, I'm always happy to help look at what you're working on. If you want to ever send me a DM on Instagram or Discord, and yeah, comment below, keep the conversation going here and on Discord. And I look forward to talking to you next week.